everybody, and welcome again to Bourbon Over Baseball with your host Bob and co-host Peter.
Glad to be here, Bob.
We're trying to battle sicknesses as are hitting the Midwest,
Oof.
so I'm not drinking my bourbon today. But we got the Showtime Angels to go with everybody, which I think a lot of people are excited to see Mike Trout after seeing Mookie Betts, and I think a lot of people are also very excited to see what Shohei Ohtani is going to look like. And then, as we discussed, how he's draftable and how you're supposed to draft him, play with him, or how we think you should. So that'll be interesting too. Another bunch of rookies on the Angels. If you were reading the blog, and I think Peter agrees here, how disappointing it is for the Angels when they have this talent of Mike Trout and now Shohei Ohtani, and they're just not a competing team right now. And I'm very excited to see, hopefully, Mike Trout in the playoffs soon, one of these days.
Yeah, hopefully they're one of these mystery teams and they can get a little help around Trout.
Yeah, and they need it. As we go through this, you'll see there's a handful of bats that jump up, and then most of them are pretty below par.
Yeah.
The pitching's pretty average to below average, and then the bullpen's sort of non-existent. And then I warned people that are listening, and I warned our fans that it's going to start going downhill in terms of playability. We'll try to keep the highlights. Maybe these podcasts become less time, but we'll highlight some of these big players that are actually draftable on this team. So we'll start with Cole Calhoun. Nothing crazy here other than he can
looks good.
Yeah, he looks great. The red and the blue look really good. But he does get you the +2 outfield, left field, right field. So if you're looking into that, not bad. But home run, maybe if you ever get the advantage. But a control 5, pretty not draftable. But why don't you talk about the next guy, how draftable this guy is?
Definitely going to go in the first round, especially our 16-team draft. No way he's not going early. He's it's Mike Trout.
Yes.
MVP type of guy all the time.
Yeah, every year, basically.
Yeah, he's so playable. He has everything you look for. On base 11, speed A, plus fielding. Gets on at 3. 40 home run power tier. Guy's an absolute stud. He's worth taking in the first round. I expect he'll go in the top 3 picks.
I was going to
picks.
say top 5 picks, first round, first few players.
Yeah, he should go immediately. I mean, I know guys get scared about spending 620 points on a single player. They like to spread it around. I don't see a problem with that when you get everything you could ask for here. So green light on Mike Trout.
Yes, and I think he's having the green light in his photo. He has a great center field. Obviously, the +2. Now, and obviously Peter knows this, and the people listening might not, but there was only 2 on-base 11s in the whole set. Yeah. One was Mookie Betts, the other is here Mike Trout. So if you want one of those guys on your team, you got to go early. There's only a handful of 10s, and then obviously baseball starts to drop down. I love them. I think the on-base at 3 is huge. You're already getting an 11, so you're going to get the advantage a lot more, and then you're not going to get out much, which is Mike Trout. So.
Wanted to put a little into perspective. He's basically the exact same player as he was in the 2017 set.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is now single plus instead of double at 16. Gets one more single instead of a walk. Still A speed. Still, he's I guess one less fielding. But the big thing is in our league, he won the MVP.
Oh wow!
With this card, his stats through 30 games. He had a .535 on-base percentage, hit 400, 13 homers, 31 RBIs, and it's going to be it's inflated because we had so many tanking teams, so we faced a lot of really bad pitchers. But he's still a guy who's going to get you in the game in on-base probably around 430, 440, hit over 300, and mash home runs probably 1 every 3 games or so. I mean, he had 15 steals.
Yeah.
I mean, my Angels team was loaded because I traded for Josh Donaldson and Freddie Freeman and just obliterated their minor league system. But still, if you get Mike Trout any sort of protection in the lineup, this card is going to rake for you.
Oh, yeah. And I think I'm trying to remember if who in my league had the the 2017 Mike Trout, because that one got drafted as well. I'm doing a really quick run at these teams. I'm trying to find him because I know he was. Oh, here he is. Let's see. Mike Trout, 27. This is the one that you made.
Yeah.
So he was 328 batting average, 464 on base.
Right
Let's
along
see.
with what I thought with the good pitching.
Yeah, 5 homers, 10 RBIs. Now my league was an 18 game league.
About one every 3 games.
Yep.
There you go.
3 stolen bases, and that's because the person that owned him was not a guy that liked to steal a lot. That's sort of, you got to look at that.
Yeah.
And then had 17 runs. I mean, he was great. So
Yep.
I think easily top 5 pick. I mean, and that's why obviously we're talking so much about this. I mean, he's not going to have the crazy chart that some of these other people, Javi Baez and Trevor Story are, but that's because he's getting the advantage way more often at the on-base 11, and you're still going to put up those on-base percentage numbers, which I think everyone's going to like.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically power tier-wise. It's like you have an on-base 10 who homers at 17 or an on-base 9 who homers at 16.
Yep.
Like he's gonna put up some massive numbers in the 2 or 3 hole, depending on your preference.
Oh, yeah.
I like hitting him second because of his speed.
I would too. I totally agree.
He's just a phenomenal player, and the card looks beautiful.
Yes, and Peter knows this. I had an initial draft of him, which I did not like, and I really thought for Mike Trout, this has to be a very high quality image, and I think when people draft this card or look at this card, they're going to be really excited to play him.
Yeah.
Speaking of awesome cards, then we'll go with the next guy, Shohei Ohtani. You got the rookie symbol, won Rookie of the Year. We'll discuss his batting card, which is a DH only. So break this one down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he really outplayed his potential. He's probably the only prospect. Acuna already reached his likely potential in the minor league system we had. But Ohtani went sort of above and beyond. Our peak for him was an on-base 8. We thought he'd really struggle on base-wise due to some of his ratings, but he came in and lit the league on fire. As you see, he gets a 16 to 20 home run, 12 to 15 double with an on-base 8. A lot of speed. Walk at 4. No real weaknesses to this card outside of its limitation of having to put him in DH, which might work really well if you have, the league where you have to draft pitcher and Ohtani. It's a really good card.
Yeah,
Good card.
I think he's great. Obviously, people that were paying attention saw this early when I was doing some rookie voting cards. But he obviously won. He's great. On base 8, had a big homer ability. I mean, he was slapping the ball, especially against the Indians in real baseball. And I think he's going to be a DH going forward, if not maybe a first baseman. Angels don't know if they're going to pitch him again or not. We'll see how that is going forward. Which is hard.
I hope they do.
It's hard to do because you got a 100-mile-an-hour flamethrower. So
yeah, I mean that's the thing. His peak pitching wise is tier 1.
Yeah.
His stuff is almost off the charts. I think he was a 70 prospect rating, and 60 is really, really good. He was the only 70 prospect in the whole game when we were doing our minor league stuff, and that was for his pitching potential. He's so good at hitting. I mean, if he gets the pitch and he's healthy with it,
yeah.
I mean, just look at his rookie card, which was, he's a tier 4 right off the bat with no doubles, and that's when he's battling injury and stuff. He's only going to get better.
Yeah, I wonder what he can do because I've seen the Rays do some fun stuff where they bring a guy in from the bullpen, get a batter out or 2, then slide him over the first base. And then they bring in another reliever, and then they bring the reliever from first base back in to pitch a couple. They used to do some random. The Rays are very fun, but I could see Ohtani coming in from the bullpen to face a guy, and then going
to the outfield
or whatever. You just move him, let's say first base at the worst case scenario. Then now he's sort of your first baseman.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about it. I mean.
Yep.
You brought him into pitch, and he's going to still bat later. it's you're sort of bringing him in as your first base replacement, not your reliever. They could do some fun stuff. So we'll see what they end up doing. But let's talk then about, like you just brought up, is how can you draft this guy? So coming up a little bit later, you're going to see the pitcher performer guy, and we'll get into that later. But the idea can be, I think, a couple different scenarios here. Is that either I know Yahoo, I think, did it for fantasy, where you could either draft a Shohei Ohtani batter or Shohei Ohtani pitcher, or both, whatever you want to do, but you can only play those as what they are. So you could have a league where you just put both players on the market and say, if you want the batter, you can draft the batter. If you want the pitcher, you can draft the pitcher. You can draft both. You can do whatever you want, and just play it like that. I don't like that because I don't like the idea of like Shohei Ohtani pitching against Shohei Ohtani in a single 2018 league. So my thought is one of two things. Either he is drafted as a single player, which means his points for his batter plus his points for his pitcher become the point for the total player. And then so you get a DH guy and you get a starting pitcher. Now the question becomes, which I don't know yet, is that 2 position spots on your roster or 1 roster spot?
So we ran into this problem for our season last year because Ohtani, we just were running out of Angels players, so we just put him in because we used his projected stats to make like really basic. So he was basically we got really close. Our card for him, let me look this up quick, because he was a tier 4 control 2 in our league. Going in,
that's what he ended up.
He was an on base. We had him as like an on base 6 who homered at 18. We way undervalued him as a hitter. Like, no one thought he'd be this good. Yeah, we had DH on base 6, homered 18, double at 15, walk at 7. Like he was a 100-point player. But pitching wise, all right, we had him as a control 3. 1 to 17 out, so he was just slightly better than what he ended up being. But we had him as an IP4, so he often had to pitch as a 2. We made it so that he counted, like we kept him separate so he could DH every game, but also he'd pitch 1 every 4. We just sort of treated it, but we weren't allowed to trade one of the Ohtanis without trading the other.
That
so he
makes
had
sense.
to be on a team, but he took up 2 roster spots, and then he did get dealt.
Okay.
Such a good prospect, and that's how the Angels got Josh Donaldson.
Yeah, and that's
they got Ohtani.
And that's how I'm trying to figure out how. I think that's the way I initially thought it was, that you would get your DH spot picked up and your starting pitcher spot picked up, and that's kind of how it is. But I've heard other people say, well, is he just 1 spot, and then you can? To me, I think I'm leaning towards the 2 spots. It makes more sense. So you get to pick up the total point value for 2 spots. You get a starting pitcher, which is probably your 4th pitcher, I would think, on your team. But then you rack in an actually pretty decent batter. Plus, I think it's always fun to have these like a rookie, like a Acuna, who's a rookie but also is like a stud. Like, I think it's a fun, especially with the new rookie card symbol on top. It really just has a fun flavor to him. Like, I think him doing damage against the opposing team would make me happy.
He's a good pitcher too.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. And as we'll get to him here in a little bit, I don't think you're going to be disappointed as your 4th best pitcher if that's what you had to deal with.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a decent value and just a fun way to play. So if you're kind of one of those ones that have a little bit more fun with it, I think you're going to like that card.
Yeah, and let us know if you do something different in your league. Yeah.
Comment below or post on the YouTube video. I want to know what other people think they should do. I know ESPN did a different thing with fantasy where you drafted the single player, and then if you started him in your DH spot, you obviously couldn't put him as a pitcher, and that's how I think that's how we would work it. But yeah, every league's a little different. Maybe the size of your league makes it dependent. I like what Peter was talking about with you can't trade just the batter. You have to trade the card itself. So what I'll end up doing is sleeving the card flipped front to back, but I'll have it printed as 2 different cards because in case there's the idea that maybe they are separated, etc. Anyway, moving on to the only other, I think,
there's 2. Justin's one of 2 draftable players left here.
Justin Upton, who's always been pretty solid as your hitter, and that's, again, I I like Justin Upton. I feel
Yeah.
bad that, again, these Angels can't make it to the playoffs. But you're looking at a decent card here, another 8, a little bit less power than Ohtani.
Yep.
Not getting the fielding, and you're going to get more outs. But a decent power hitter. That's probably what you're
Really-
going to get out of him.
Really solid number 5, number 6 hitter for your team.
Yep.
310 points. You just kind of slot him in, let him hit around 260 for you, probably an on base in a league around 330-ish, 340, and get some pop that they can't work around.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be disappointed by drafting this guy. I mean, you're getting a middle type of speed, 8 on base. You're not going to be upset. It's probably not the guy you were looking for, but I think he fills in nicely for your team. The next,
You don't want him hitting third.
no. This is the guy that you're filling in. You've probably already drafted, hopefully, a big power guy or whatever on your team, and like, you know what? How can I sort of transition to the lower end of my lineup and still not lose too much pop? That's where this guy falls in.
Unfortunately, Pujols pretty undraftable unless you just want that +1 at first base.
Yeah, or you just like Pujols as the player.
Good looking card.
Yeah, I thought, and I think obviously any OG Showdown people here who were playing in 01, remember that's when Pujols' rookie card, came out. So we're talking 18 years later. There's only a few people that are going to have a card that was in Showdown and a card that's in this Showdown set. He is one of them.
I wonder how they did that one card, his rookie card there, because his rookie season he won Rookie of the Year and he had a 403 on base. I guess his rookie year was 2001, so like this was projected. Basically, they did what I did with Ohtani.
Yep.
And they just vastly underrated how good Pujols was going to be.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny
That's
because
a very similar card to the one I made for Ohtani.
they do that, and then they did the same thing for Ichiro, because they did Ichiro.
But Ichiro was pretty proper.
Yeah, well, he was a 10 on base, home run 20, but his made sense. This I didn't understand this one, but if you guys are reading the blog, and I hope obviously if you just are listening to the podcast, check out the blog, and hopefully if you check out the blog, you are listening to this podcast as well. But I did do a little fun thing where I put the Pujols original card on there next to the Pujols new card, so you could see them. 18 years later, not too far off from each other. Obviously, you didn't want the beginning of Pujols' career Showdown wise, because his career was good.
One,
yeah,
because his real rookie cards, it looks like it's got to be an on base 10. He's over 400 with 37 home. So he's 47 doubles.
Yeah.
This is just me looking at it. First impression, I forgot how good he was as a rookie. He's probably an on base 10, homer at 18, double at 14. And like maybe double at 13 if he gets a triple, which I don't think he does. He had 4 triples, but 676 plate appearances. That's just conservative. Double at 14, homer at 18, on base 10. Who plays third base and the outfield? What a stud!
Yeah, I mean,
he's a 550-point player.
Yeah, they vastly kind of screwed the pooch on him.
Better than the 2008 card we have here.
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of getting at was, I added one that I created for him, which is one of his better on base seasons I picked out, and when he was an on base 11, and I put him in there because what you really want is the Showdown versions of the Albert Pujols between the years of last few years of the Angels and obviously the card that they made.
Basically, whenever he was on the Cardinals.
Yeah, basically every. Yeah, he's been such a great player over his career. Obviously, hurting with the plantar fasciitis.
He's an on base 9 homer at 17.
Yeah, he got the plantar fasciitis, slowed down a bit.
Yeah.
And he's sort of been hurt. He gets hurt a lot. He has the power, but no longer the on base percentage that he used to have. So obviously. Back to 2018, you're not drafting this card, but I thought it was fun to do a little comparison on the site. As we continue down, we got Taylor Ward, another rookie, on base 4. You're not drafting him, but Anderson Simmons, which his name filled up the entire card length of my.
Squeezed him in.
Yeah, just squeezing him in here. You're gonna get a shortstop +5 here, so on base 7. That's not too bad. I mean, it's
on at 3.
Great. On at 3. And pretty much on second at a 13. He's doubling at 14, single plus at 13. you would hope that you can get on second base here. So he's got a good chart. Not the best on
He's
base.
just a guy I wouldn't want early in my
No.
lineup.
No, but if you're trying to pick up a little bit of extra defense and you don't want a bad chart, and let's say you hate on base 6 players or below,
He's a very good starter.
yeah, I don't mind.
Lower end. He's going to get drafted.
Yeah, he's the guy I think could fill in a spot. I don't like him too much, but I don't not like him. Like you said, I'm not going to pick this guy up in my strategy. But if I'm looking and all of a sudden, hey, shortstop, I could use a little bit extra defense. I don't want to go to an on-base 6. I got some extra salary. I'll go for him for $240.
See, I already know that I'm going to have Trevor Story and Javi Baez on my team. So there's no reason for me to think about Simmons.
And then you won't have to.
Yeah, I mean, just take Trevor first round, trade up, get Acuna.
Yeah, that's I got
somehow double it up.
And while he's trying to liven me up, folks. As we continue on, we got a couple of rookies here. We got David Fletcher, who
undraftable.
Only reason would be maybe you'd want
defense.
Maybe. Bench. And then the catcher Jose Bricino.
He might get drafted just for his arm.
That's what I was thinking, and that's what I was saying. You're not going for his on base here. +8 arm, that's decent. Not great speed. Nothing really crazy there.
I like that. I think you suggested bumping his points a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we did a little defensive adjustment. I really like that because I think 100 points makes you think a lot more about whether or not he's worth it.
Yep.
Because you're basically just getting the +8.
Yeah.
It's tough when he's going to be almost an automatic out.
Yeah, he's like your number 9 hitter, and you were literally drafting him because you thought maybe that you get the 8 arm. You're trying to keep some of the runners on base, and like I said, I gotta vastly reduce my stolen base count because the catchers just did not have the greatest arms this year, in my opinion. There's only a handful that really are elite. But here this guy's a middle to upper tier arm, 100 points. You're not going to get anything else. Do you draft him? He's probably finding a spot. I mean, there's not a lot of catchers.
Yeah.
Every catcher's probably finding a spot, but I don't want him. But, I'll take him if I have to.
Then maybe the most disappointing player in the set, or in 2018 for his free agency signing, Zach Cozart.
He started the year hot and then just vastly dropped off.
Well, and as people who've looked at the standings and stats post from the league my friends and I played, Cozart, we made a pennant run version of him from 2017, which is just like we put his 2017 card on from the Reds on the Angels where he signed to start the season, and we just transferred it over. He was an on base 10. On base 10.
So
speed A. 19-20 homer, 17-18 triple, 15-16 double. Like, he was an absolute beast. And like him and Trout as a 1-2 were absolutely lethal. Like, I exactly saw what the Angels were going for.
Yeah.
Because if you plug in Cincinnati Reds 2017 All-Star Zach Cozart at the top of this lineup, it is about as lethal a 1-2 as it gets in the game. And the Angels, I mean, they added Donaldson and Freddie Freeman to go with Justin Upton, so they had a mammoth 1 through 5, called it Murderer's Row. But that 1-2 combo is the most lethal in the game, and if they had gotten that sort of production out of Cozart, I don't think they're an under 500 team. This lineup looks way better. I just think about Cole Calhoun being an on-base 10 in that spot, and it's a real shame that Zach Cozart fell on hard times. I hope he can bounce back.
Yeah.
But it seems like 2017 was the aberration rather than the norm.
Well, he's still on the Angels. I know he was hurt.
Yeah.
So they need a big bounce back from him. They got him through
2020.
Yeah. So they really need him to sort of become back to what he's, like you said, the Reds version. Which
the problem is his career on base is just over 300, and so that 385 season is kind of.
Oh, you're right. Look at that.
Remarkable.
Hey, he like almost doubled his home runs. Like, jumped up a ton in every category.
He had a great free agent season.
Yeah, he like shows everybody how good he is, and then he goes back to normal. Well,
Just the fun thing about pennant runs is that you get like that one card, and you're like, this is what they're hoping they get.
yeah.
And then,
Well,
nope.
and like you said, it was what the Angels saw.
Yeah.
Another guy, Jeffrey Marte, just a power guy, but again, 5 on base, not
I mean,
draftable.
he's Pujols,
Yeah,
basically.
he's basically Pujols, and you could probably interchange them.
Yeah.
When we go to the pitching staff, again, nothing too exciting here. They're all tier 4 pitchers.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the most fun.
Useful back of the rotation guys, but their controls are all so low that that's going to scare people off too.
Yeah, I guess besides Otani, the best thing I could say is the Jamie Barria card is fun to
It looks
look at.
tight.
Yeah, it's fun to look at, but Andrew Heaney, Tyler Skaggs, not draftable. At least you're not looking to draft them. But
No.
the Shohei Otani, as Peter said earlier, when he predicted the 3 control based on the stats and stuff, IP4 ended up being a 2 control IP5, but 1 through 17 out here.
Yep.
What I really like
No
is the no
doubles.
doubles. Exactly.
Really great.
So if you get
strikeout range.
yeah, so you got a 310 point player. So this total point player is a 700 point player. You get the 8 on base DH with a 4th pitcher as a 2 control, 1 through 17 out with no doubles. I don't dislike that. I kind of
Especially if you go heavy on the bullpen.
yes, yeah. You're gonna you got Josh Hader coming in, and so you don't
Yep.
have to worry too much here. But yeah, I just don't think I don't know if I'm like wanting Shohei Otani, but if I get him, I don't think, or if anybody grabs him and drafts him, I don't think you're gonna be upset because you got your 4th pitcher and maybe your 4-hole, your 3 or
Yeah.
5-hole hitter. I don't think you're gonna be too upset. You do have to take the big leap though with the 700 points. I mean, so we'll see.
Whew.
But I love the picture. I love people that probably haven't seen the picture now. They only saw the batter card earlier, so
Yeah.
now they can see what they would
So
look like as the flip.
All the red jerseys you used are really sharp.
Yeah, they pop really nice against
Really
the navy
nice.
background. And I think, also I blew up the logo in the background after me and
Yeah.
you had a conversation about, I had it too small, I thought, and I increased the size, which it came out really nice now.
Looks really good.
And if you are reading the blog, I did post below the Otani cards side by side, so you would see, technically what they would look like hypothetically
And
flipped.
you print them off.
Yep.
People obviously, we get some comments about it. All our cards are just freely posted on the site, and so just feel free, copy and paste them onto like a PowerPoint or whatever's easiest for you. Resize them how you want and print them off.
Yeah, I
They should be
recommend.
the right size.
I've told this to people on Twitter. I've done this before with my league, printing them on heavy cardstock,
Yep.
cutting them out, and then using an old MLB Showdown strategy card. You slide that into a sleeve, and put the heavy cardstock on top. When you have it in your hand, it feels like a normal card, and if it's flipped over, like I know when most people do outs,
symbol.
they flip up over the cards. If you flip them over to show an out, it
Yep.
still says MLB Showdown. So I think you'd be very happy with. I know my league is very happy with the way those came out from a distance. And if people follow me on Twitter, when I take a lot of my shots from my league, you really can't tell which ones are the custom cards and which ones are the not, because they're sized right and they slide into the sleeve and you can't tell.
Yeah. The Angels bullpen, not very good.
They
But
remind me of
Noah
the
Ramirez
Indians.
looks awesome.
Yes, I think
Great card.
the picture looks great. I don't know if the highest salary guy is Jose Alvarez, and I don't even know if I want him.
Well, I know I want Jim Johnson because I always draft Jim Johnson. He was a stud on the Orioles. Because when I started getting the newer cards was right in the early 2010s, and my friends and I love the Orioles. They're like our like pity team almost.
Yeah,
and then
it's a
they
guilty
had
pleasure.
some yeah. I mean, my travel team was the Orioles growing
Oh.
up. So it was one of those things where when you have like 4 Orioles jerseys with your name on it, you're just like, all right.
Man, I think my little league team was the Orioles as well.
Yeah,
Man,
and it's
that's
just
really
like
random.
I had enough hats and jerseys that I just, all right, Orioles it is.
Yeah.
And Jim was such a good pitcher for them, and he had an IP2 card that was tier 2 at one point. no doubles, control 5, and we just used the crap out of him. I think he almost won the Cy Young in one
Wow.
of our old leagues because he pitched so many innings. And I'll always take a Jim Johnson.
Now, I sadly will not be taking this Jim Johnson, nor I hope any of these
Any
Angels
Angel?
players. Every one of them gives up a double, and 2 of them give up a home run. They scare the living crap out of me. I mean, you got Noah
Yeah.
Ramirez, for how good his picture look, gives up a home run. Blake Parker also gives up a
Oof.
home run. The one we did not talk about was Cam.
Big drop off from Blake too.
Yeah.
He was a tier 2, control 4, the 1-17 out, control 4, no home run the year before.
Oh,
I
good.
just
Because he looks like it in his picture that he's mad at himself that he let himself
Which-
have the season.
he let himself go.
Yeah. Other than that, you got Cam Bedrison. Nothing to speak of there. So, in our opinion, and obviously, I think they just drafted they just picked up Cody Allen, another guy that gives up a
Yeah.
home run. I don't know what the Angels are
Hopefully
doing
he
there.
bounces back.
Yeah.
They see the 2017 card again. The Angels love signing guys with good 2017 cards. That's what I'm learning.
Other than that, there's only a few people on the Angels that you're gonna draft. Let us know who you would actually draft. If there's anybody, I think we sort of talked about it, but if you guys have your own opinion, let us know how they look. Let us know if you like Shohei Ohtani being a flip card, your strategy about how you should draft him. And then, obviously, the really fun card I put at the bottom. I think
Love it.
Peter saw this already. I did make a 2001 template, and I was throwing around the idea of some variant cards / rare cards could be the 2001 template style. So I took the Mike Trout,
Yeah.
dropped them on a template for 2001. So any of you guys that want to have a really fun time, obviously, I think you'll like it. I think you're gonna like the card in general.
It looks awesome.
Yeah, it really, I think it's just a subtleness. You know, if you have your lineup, obviously you're not printing a foil version out. So if you have your lineup and you have all Angels, you're doing Peter's League where you have all the Angels players. He just stands out just a little bit, and
Yeah.
I think that's what's kind of cool about it. So,
I'm excited to use the template to put out. I mean, I think people saw the Chuck Noblock card that I put out on Twitter using your template, which came out really good. I worked on a Barry Larkin, and I think it's going to be a really great way with this template for us to give people more old content because the old grainy pictures are just really tough to do cutouts for.
yeah.
It's a lot easier when it's the blown up picture zoomed in on the 2001 style, and I think it looks better.
Yeah, I find it hard to find high quality photos of full length people, and I don't know if everyone knows this. Some people do, but the 2000 series cards used almost entirely full length photos, and then the 2001 series was about half body photos,
Yeah.
and so it is easier. You get half a person to cut out. You can go a little quicker. And there's a lot more photos online of half height or half bodied players. Which is just even especially when I was doing the 96, I think people online saw my Mark McGuire
Love the Marky Mark.
along with your Chuck, but yeah, it's just easier to find that type of player picture online. So with that, I think we've wrapped up the Angels. What's coming up next, Peter, for the NL?
The St. Louis Cardinals.
Woo! Peter does not like the St. Louis Cardinals, guys.
No, but they have my favorite stadium, so it's a little. Well, that's the one blessing with the Cardinals. I love Busch.
So that will hopefully be coming out soon. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. Subscribe, retweet, let us know what your thoughts are.